Welcome y'all to another episode of the Presidential Executive. We're going to this your boy right here, JB. This is my brother over here, El Presidente Rag. And before we get started, y'all go ahead and like this video right now. We're wherever that you stream podcasts. Let me see if I can get. We on Apple Podcasts. We on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music. What am I missing?
YouTube.
I said YouTube. I said YouTube.
iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio and Stitcher. Okay.
Yes,
all right. Now we got this kind of like a rundown here. So Rag, I don't know how you want to introduce who we have here, or you just kind of want to save that for the next episode we kind of do. But I know you're gonna do what you do
on this live joint. We're not gonna go into the big introduction,
yeah.
But this is definitely a friend of the show. Friend of us personally.
Absolutely.
Definitely been a mentor. My whole life.
Yeah.
Somebody who I've always been able to, call, will stop what he doing and pray with you. Give you a good word, give you a good message if you need it. Don't have no problem correcting you if you need it.
Right. Hit you where it hurt.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. But,
hit you where it hurt.
But it's
hit
always with
yeah.
love. But then he'll do like you remember in Lean on Me when he roasted Joe Clark, and then he was like, "Come on, let's go get something."
Yeah.
Like that's what he'll roast you, but then be like, "All right, come on now, let's go get this. Let's go get this good Dixie Queen."
Yeah.
But yeah, man, we got the one and only Mike Arnold. You may know him as Pastor Mike or Brother Mike, but Mike Arnold is in the building.
Yes,
He's in the
sir.
facility.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So we having a fireside chat with the good Pastor Mike.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
How you doing, sir?
I'm good, man. Thanks so much. It's an honor to be here, man. Really it is.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming through because we talked, I think, a few weeks ago at, Mama Teresa's passing.
Yeah.
And then I saw you before that. I think last time I think it was at a Fro concert.
Yeah.
The joint he had at Innovation, right?
Yeah. Shout out to Fro.
Yeah. Man, look,
I
I have the hoodie. I got a few shirts.
Okay.
Wifey got a few. Actually, he delivered the last one I did. He came to the house.
Okay.
And just dropped it off. So yeah. Shout out to Fro.
My guy.
Yeah, shout out to Fro.
I see you at the gas station again. Because he stay right. He don't stay too far from me.
He's staying to Dover.
Yeah.
He's staying to Dover.
A lot of
Yeah,
times I be in the mail
he's
truck.
staying to Dover.
Okay.
Gassing up, and he'll be
Right. Right.
What's going on, Roche, man? What they doing?
Exactly
I
how
see
he's
you out here working, bro.
Yeah, man. He's I don't know if he's back now. He's down in Florida for Flavor Fest.
Okay.
I saw he posted something about that. Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's a good look.
Yeah.
So shout out to Fro, man.
Yeah, shout out.
to Fro.
Definitely shout out to Fro. Now I want to get straight into this, man. Like the rundown, is topics we wouldn't be responsible content creators if we didn't talk about this election. You know what I'm saying? The results and stuff that happened.
Yeah.
Anybody that knows me know where I was going, where I, was leaning toward as far as the particular person, right? So, and I know also it's heavy on a lot of people that I know and probably that we know. You know what I'm saying? I went to TSU, HBCU.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, a lot of people disowned me a while ago, because of my, I guess, political preference or political leaning, however you want to call it.
Sure.
So, but that never bothered me personally because I always was myself. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm Prentice Brown incarnated in that. Like I don't, however I feel about some, I'm gonna stand 10 toes down on it. But I just want to get. Me and Ragnar went back and forth quite a few times about this. But I would like to know, Mr. Mike, what are your thoughts just about just the results first? We'll go kind of like the results and your feelings and all that.
Well, I think a couple of things, man. I mean, we're at a pivotal point in our country right now, and we have a lot of people who are hurting. I think whoever would have won, somebody would have been mad.
Oh, definitely.
And I think for us, it's important that we look at the bigger picture of our country more than anything else, because it's not always about personality, but it's about policy and procedure and what's going to be the good for the country. Now, people have their critics and what they look at it, but I've been taught that you have to look at the whole picture. And I think for a lot of people, they bought into, whether they were Republican or Democrat, hoping that this person would be the political savior to solve all the problems. And if you go back the last, I know in my lifetime, 40 years, every political figure, every president had critics and they had people that were in favor of them. But the thing is, whether you go back to, Ronald Reagan, when I was a kid, Reaganomics, right? We're still waiting on the trickle-down effect, right? Trickle-down economics. Bill Clinton, both Bushes, Obama, all of those, you're always going to have those people. But I always encourage people is that for believers, especially if we're going down that route, it's not about the elephant or the donkey, but
now, I know even with me, and I have to say this, I think a lot of times, just clearly I was leaning more toward Trump, right? But it wasn't, and I'm not like a registered Republican or anything like that. But at the end of the day, how I look at it, I just kind of go with the script. I just kind of go with the word, whatever the word, kind of leads me on that. And so it was interesting. And then I know this is not one of Rag's favorite subjects to talk about because, of how he views things, right, politically. So because he don't vote, right?
And so it hadn't been an always thing, but as of recently, yes, I stopped doing that.
And so that that whole thing and that dynamic given to me, this is what I see. I see a divide. Clearly, what you're saying, no matter which side you was on, it was going to be somebody upset. And so when somebody's upset, just like I think I made a video talking about, it was the black women. It was a lot of black women, angry. Black women that I knew personally that was messed up about it, just for obvious reasons. And I talked to a real close family member because I want to get why you feel a certain way, right?
Sure.
Because like I said, you don't have to think like me, but then I'm just like, I would like people to substantiate their argument, right? To what, what I'm saying? Look, okay, you voted for this person, like why? Right. Like what's up? Like, see if we're on the same page wise as far as, like you said, believers, because as I see it as a believer, we have one source, right? We have one source, and so we got the same book. And so I'm thinking that, we should maybe be on the same page going toward that. But then I obviously not only this, but then other topics you see that it's not that way because it's a clear divide. And also I think this particular time really, showed me, I guess, just the line that it's a distinct line now, right? And so we on the pod, we had a thing this whole season, last season we were talking about exposure season, obviously with the Diddy stuff, and Cat Williams set it off, what I'm saying? And so I really do think at this time, like, we are like in that time. But I do want to ask you, like, as far as, how should we look at politics as believers, right? Because I know I've seen a lot of people talking, and it just seemed like everything kind of down the middle. Nobody want to say either side, what I'm saying? They're just like, well, this side is okay, what I'm saying, whether you pick that side. And so, and I'm just like, I think people, they're like, it's no framework in the word that you can even look at to do it during this period. But I don't see it that way. I think it's, pretty clear down the line, kind of what you should choose. And if the Republican side, with the way that was running, and that flipped to the Democrat, I would have been with the Democrats. Because I'm not to which, like you said, the donkey or the elephant. I'm sticking to the script. I'm sticking to the word. I'm sticking to what, Holy Spirit told me personally. So what do you think we need politics like as just say believers first?
Well, I think in any world that we're in, I think God has called us to influence and be salt and light. Politics is such a fine line because for me, I always say I compare politics to kind of like pro wrestling. it's a show.
Right.
In front, you have the anvil, the guy that's hated, and then you have the hero, right? Mm-hmm. But behind the scenes, they're all they work for the same company.
Yeah.
And so you have to have that perspective as it relates to that to understand how politics work.
Right.
And from a believer standpoint, I believe that you need to line up with a politician or politicians that are closest to the word as possible. Now, the reality is, neither Democrats or Republicans are going to be 100% on everything that we believe. I think we also, too, honestly, we amplify these leaders too much and romanticize them too much. Personally, that one side can't do anything right and the other side can't do anything wrong, and that's just not a balanced look. Me personally, I wish there was another option besides Democrat and Republican. I'm an independent.
Correct.
And so in that, I've voted in the past for Democrats. In the past, I voted Republican, depending on what it was. But overall, I'm not locked into one party or the other. And so I think it's just to answer your question that you really have to have discernment. Like you said, this idea of looking at the script, the Word of God, and allowing that to guide you. Now, I know people argued both sides about Trump and certain things that he's done and how he's treated people and the temperament and all of those things, and those are valid points. Yeah. But at the same time, if you look at the other side, there's certain qualities and things that also the other candidate that also didn't necessarily line up with the Word of God. And you saw people even within denominations, like Kojic, there's a big brouhaha that's happening now just within the Kojic church, right? Yeah, because of what people have decided. So, it's pretty tricky, JB. I just think, one's personal conviction, what they believe, but I think you have to look at the Word of God and let that be your script in making your decision, not based on our beliefs, our culture. That's another thing that I'm sure we'll get into that we have to look at as well. So.
I don't like. You hear me say this all the time: right wing, left wing, same bird.
Yep.
So it ain't this side or that side. If you choose one side, you're choosing both of them because it's all the same bird.
Yeah.
If you want to use a scriptural thing, Paul says some of y'all saying y'all are Paul, some of y'all saying y'all are Peter, some Apollos, some are Christ. We're all in the same body. Yeah. So it don't really matter which side you're aligning with. To your point, the heel or the face. They work for the same company.
Right.
It's a popular story back in the 80s. Hacksaw Jim Duggan and the Iron Sheik. They both got in trouble with Vince McMahon because they were riding in the car together on their way to a show. And the deal was Hacksaw Jim Duggan, he's all-American, with the 2x4. Oh,
right.
The Iron Sheik is supposed to be this, Iranian guy.
The villain.
Right, he's a villain. But they were friends.
Right.
But they're riding to this show and they get busted because they're speeding and they're smoking weed. And so when they go to jail, it makes the papers that the Iron Sheik and Hacksaw are riding together. And that just kills what they call kayfabe, which is kayfabe is like the story that everybody's supposed to see.
Yeah.
And so y'all just killed the storyline because y'all are supposed to be enemies. Y'all are supposed to hate each other.
Right.
But really, secretly, y'all really roll together.
Right.
And so when people say, well, choose the lesser of the two evils, so you're asking me to choose evil. I can't.
Yeah.
The revelation that Holy Spirit gave to me is that we actually saw in the New Testament an election take place.
Okay.
When they were getting ready to crucify the Messiah,
Barabbas.
He put the kingdom in front of them, and he put. See, Barabbas wasn't just a murderer; he was a political prisoner. He was somebody who was trying to overthrow the Roman government. That was why he was in jail. And so, the Yahudim, or we called them Jews at that time, they picked the person that fit their self-interest. Why do you think Herod was killing all the babies? It didn't have nothing to do with religion necessarily.
Right.
It was because he knew that this person, he misinterpreted the king of the Jews. Oh, you finna wreck my political system.
Right.
So I can't have somebody come overthrow this government. So I got to kill all these babies because whoever this is and a lot of the Yahudim was thinking that the Messiah is going to come and overthrow the government.
Right.
The real reason why Judas betrayed the Messiah was about self-interest. He thought Iscariot, if you look it up, Iscariot means son of Carioth. That was an unknown fourth political system of the time. You had Pharisees, the Sadducees, the Essenes, and the Zealots. the Iscariot or the son of Carioth, they were religious zealots. That was another political party. And if you look all throughout, especially the Gospels, the Pharisees, the Sadducees, they were coming to try to trip, the Christ up. Like, hey, so are you supposed to pay taxes then?
Right.
And he got the hey, who faces on that coin?
That's right.
Okay, well, Caesar's faces on the coin, pay taxes.
Yeah.
We live here, pay the taxes.
Right.
You give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, but you give to the
God.
Father what belongs to him.
God. Yeah.
Right? So I'm not one where I'm not in the middle, but I cannot, and if you ask, we said this on one of the last ones, they did a poll, and I want to say like 58, I think, or 60% of Democrats identify as being Christians. And I want to say it's like 80, close to 90% of Republicans say the same. So then if a majority, which is 51% or more, a majority of both sides say that they're believers, well then, according to policy, as you said, the Democrats, and I can't go with that because 90% of what the policy is goes against everything of what my faith is.
Right.
But then, you got these Republicans, which most of them are trans Christians. Right. They are people who are identifying as Christians who are really not. They've assimilated. And they're playing on my faith. They're using my faith to get what they want. And I can't roll. And so Paul said this in Corinthians 6 when he talked about the believer that was in the church. And he said the heathens don't even sin like this. You're not even supposed to sit down and eat with that person. Right. So now how can I sit up, and we know that this is the same Bible that we all read. So how can I sit up and say I align with this just because they say, oh, well, hey, guess what? We don't believe in abortion. But we'll hang you in front of your children and castrate you in the name of the Father.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying? We'll hold certain people back in the name of the Father. Yeah. But we don't believe in abortion, though.
Right.
Okay, like let's keep the genders the same. You see what I'm saying? But we'll oppress, people, or we'll show favoritism, or we'll do this, or we'll rape and pillage other countries. But hey, we want the traditional family. Right. And so when it comes to that, for me, again, it's not, my choice is clear, and you said it earlier. I roll with the Messiah, I roll with the King, in everything I do. And to JB's point, if you as a believer, if it's within you, you feel that it is your civic duty, you feel that you need to vote, that you should vote, you are not being honest with yourself. You're sinning against yourself by not doing it. If you really feel like this is something I'm supposed to be doing. Sure. On the flip side, as a believer, if you have an understanding of Scripture, you have a revelation, or the Father's put on your heart not to do it, but you do it because of pressure, or because of what people are saying. My ancestors used to eat pork brains. I'm supposed to still do that too? Right, I got you. You see what I'm saying? Our women used to get raped and didn't tell nobody. Are we still supposed to do that? Family members used to molest kids.
You got a question, right?
You see what I'm saying?
Question. So, same question I asked Pastor Mike here. So, you saying that you standing with the Messiah, what does that look like not doing anything, not voting though? What does that look like?
What do you mean? I'm still doing stuff.
No, I'm saying like faith kingdom. Without works is dead, right?
I'm about
so
the kingdom.
If you're,
I'm about the kingdom.
So how are you about the kingdom when you still paying taxes? When you still
did not the Messiah say, "Give to Caesar what's due to Caesar,"
right?
Which is paying taxes. Voting is not giving to Caesar what's due to Caesar.
But also on the voting thing, they had gun law referendums on the voting thing going into voting. I'm in Bartlett, so I didn't have that, but I know people that voted in the city.
Right, in the city. Right.
They had different referendums about gun laws that were on that ballot, so it just wasn't president and vice president. So, but you would want to do that though, right? Like vote for stuff like that.
JB, I have no faith in anything that they come up with. You can't cast out a demon with a demon. And if you try to beat, and we've seen this, whether it's with Rodney King or whether it's with the Central Park 5, we just recently went through something. You use the law, you do what they say, and you still get screwed by it. And ultimately, again, not saying that that's not the process. We're in this world, so we are supposed to do things a certain way. But what I have learned is that when you put your faith in that, and a lot of people voted for Trump again, self-interest, the economy, but our dollar ain't worth nothing. It's not backed by anything.
Right.
What did he tell the rich young ruler? The rich young ruler said, I'm doing everything. Everything you say do, I'm doing. And he said, the only thing you need to do is you don't need to be concerned about what you got in your pocket. All this stuff that you got, sell it all, give it to the poor, and come follow me. And he said he put his head down and walked away, and he never returned to him.
So let me ask you this. Do you think, so what I hear is that you ultimately you can't legislate morality.
No. And the reason why, and this is the flip that's going to happen. Mm-hmm. When they started this country, it was a separation of church and state. The intent is that the state would not dictate what goes on in the church. So matters of faith need to be dictated, regulated by the church. But what's going to happen is that the state is going to start dictating and regulating. And once that happens, well, now they're going to be able to tell pastors what they can preach. A lot of churches don't read their 501c3, but if you research it and you study it properly, and the 501c3 is what you get from the government, the funds you get for the nonprofit organization, but they can shut you down if they don't like what you're preaching because you have accepted their government money. So it's already kind of in a way dictating what you can do. It's just been undercover. But like you said, exposure season is finna start coming to light. Because they finna start telling some of these pastors, hey, yeah, because they already have tried to do it in some places.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, you got to marry these people. You got to marry these two people, even though,
or you can't preach certain things.
Right.
Or you can't say something in the pulpit, like even like I think that the way even Trump has putting a lot of stuff toward the states. He's putting the responsibilities back onto the states.
Right.
So that's going to make like our local elections and our state elections like more vital, which they should have been anyway. To me, I think locally is way more important than national.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I always, well, at least I can say I always thought that, but at least the last 10 years, I see that. I see that here in Memphis. You know what I'm saying? And how we, you know what I'm saying, do things. Right. And so for me, I look at, politics as like a tool. You know what I'm saying? I'm in a stock club, right? I'm in a stock club. And so to me, if you say politics is not useful, you saying you don't like money. You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at it, because how I got this house was what I sold my stocks and the dividends, and I got with the dividends and I bought, kind of whatever with that. So I'm in the process of now of building up my portfolio to, you know what I'm saying, to get back, because I was loafing for a minute. So just to build back my portfolio, and a lot of that has to do with, you got to like politics, I think, just because from a stock standpoint, because you got to know what's going on. It's politics, and it's politics on my job, your job, government, sports, entertainment, church, right? And so we all got to play the politic game, right? That's how I look at it. We all got to play the politic game. We got to navigate it so we can leverage it to get what we want out of it. You know what I'm saying? Whether that's law or legislation, like, you know what I mean? Like you said, you can't legislate morality, right? But you can make it harder though, right? That's how I look at it. I think you can make it harder for somebody like on the other side. And two, I want to put this whole thing about, because we always talked about on here like the Democratic plantation, you know what I'm saying? And so, and I think what happened will actually help that out. You know what I'm saying? Just because I think they got to do a whole regroup, a whole rebrand, I think, the Democratic Party, just because of how bad it was, right? It was a landslide, right? And so even if you look at the numbers, I think a lot of California was red. You know what I mean? When I looked at it, it was a lot. It was a whole lot of California that was red, and that was kind of off key a little bit. But just the rebranding, I think they spent $1 billion on events and celebrities. They gave Oprah, I think, $1 million, and I think they $20 million in debt. And so I think just from politically looking at it, whatever side that you're on, I think this is a good thing that the Democrats going to have to refocus and rewrap and repackage how they, you know what I'm saying, especially the black people. You know what I'm saying? Because I talk to a lot. I'm on a platform so where I can, speak, when I want and how I want on camera even, and I'm more out loud. But I've had a lot of people DM me and come up to me privately, be like, "Yeah, JB, yeah, I'm with," and they look like me. And so I think a lot of people just didn't say it, but they just went to the polls and, you know what I'm saying, kind of did what they did.
Right.
But then also with, like, whether we're going to get into sports thing too. So we know people here in Memphis. I know at least a couple that should have been in the league, right? That should play the NBA. But it's politics to sports.
Without a doubt.
Politics to the NBA, politics to football, that, you know, whatever that you're in, that, you know what I'm saying, you're going to either have to play the game or you just going to have to just, like, forget about it, right? So, yeah. And also, I wanted to, because I wrote some stuff down because I couldn't, I got a lot of stuff going on, Pastor Mike. A lot of stuff going on. Got a lot of stuff going on. With that, so any other thoughts on that? Either one of y'all.
You know, I think going forward, again, understanding that there's a political cycle. And so understanding and navigating through that is important. And as believers, like we said, we need to know the game plan. We need to know the script in order to go forward, whether you're red, blue, or neutral in your color and what you support. And I think for people that are devastated, you know, because their candidate didn't win, or they are elated that their candidate won, I caution them, particularly believers, to be graceful, because these next several months are going to be critical going into this new administration.
Definitely.
And so as believers, it's important that we lead the way and be light regardless. And so that would be my final 2 cents on that.
To your point, the Democratic plantation. Again, all I want for black people to do, and everybody hollering Chucks and Pearls, when she come back out
not
and
the
say,
Chucks and Pearls.
when she come back out and she be an East Indian woman again, or Eastern whatever woman again, you know what I'm saying, and she stopped cleaning her greens in the bathtub and everything like that. When she goes back to that, y'all keep that same energy.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I think she lost a lot of people. It's okay to be white. It's okay to be Indian. It's okay to be Mexican, Hispanic, whatever, Asian. But don't sit up here, and I put the meme up, like every time I saw her, I saw Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder.
Ooh,
like that's what I saw.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? Because you've been Indian your whole life, and that's fine.
Right.
I could have entertained what you were saying.
Right.
But the fact that you now all of a sudden you're pandering and it's not legit, it's unrighteous, and then you really don't mess with black people like that. No. You know what I'm saying? When you were in, and again, people were ignoring like the stories of the little girl who, you know, her mom got sent to jail for truancy, and the girl had sickle cell. Right. And if you've ever, like, I used to teach kids with sickle cell, and if you ever see a kid with sickle cell, like, that is the most terrifying thing, because you can't do anything for them.
Right.
Like they look like they might start convulsing or shaking, and you don't know they're hurting, and they can't tell you why. Yeah. And she put this girl's mom in jail for truancy. Yeah. You know, people were ignoring that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so, like,
well, they hit it.
No, but when it came out though, a lot of people, well, you're making excuses for it.
Right.
You know, again, on the flip side, and you just alluded to that, like, if niggas start hanging from trees again and all of that, keep that same energy. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like hold on to this good economy, and gas prices going down. It's okay for a few niggas to hang, cause like you talk about how you got your house, dude. I make $20 an hour. Yeah. And if I told you how much my house cost, that didn't come because I saved no money up, or because I'm so frugal, or I'm so wise in my spend. That came from faith. That came from prayer. That came from fasting. That came from, okay, you said in your word, Lord, don't worry about this right here. You take care of the birds. Now, I've been faithful in this area, I need you to take care of me. Right. Because this is what I got this is what I got coming. Right. My job don't pay me enough. Right. You know what I'm saying? And like he got me fired. No, I'm just playing. But we talking about that. But it was a guy that when he found out my relationship with Pastor Mike, and so that was like the third strike, because he already didn't like my dad. He already didn't like Broderick. Wow. And then when he found out, and then Pastor Mike didn't pull no punches. Like, he roasted dude like straight to his face. Right. And was like, Shay, you should have told me this was who you were. I'd let you know about him. Yeah. After that, it was over with. He was looking for anything to get you see
anything to poke the bear,
right? But one of the things Pastor Mike said to him is like, oh, you got the best person that you could have at this job, and that made him matter because he just roasted him, and then Pastor Mike was like, "But my boy though, he the right one for this job,
right?
And ain't nobody better than him." You see what I'm saying? But so like I've been in positions where I was doing everything I was supposed to do, standing on business, standing on principle, standing on integrity, and still lost. And so now that I'm in a position where I'm the king and the priest of my household, and my kids are looking up to me, and I got to teach them something. I got to teach them because I've lost from FedEx to St. Jude to that particular. I ain't gonna say it on camera,
right.
But that particular job I was working,
I
lost all, and I was standing on principle.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying? And I had to take that L. And my mama saying, "Oh, if your life was right, you wouldn't have lost a job." I'm like, Mom, this wasn't an issue of sin. This was an issue of standing on principle. This was an issue of standing on, what was right and what was wrong. And I still had to get my head cut off. And so I'm fully persuaded, I'm fully confident that if it comes down to a gun in my head, I know what I'm going to do because I've done it before. Just like David, when he told them, hey, I fought this bear, I fought this lion.
Right.
In the same way, when I had the opportunity to compromise, even going back to our favorite, forgive me, I'm not going to say what I said earlier, but our favorite rapper, I had an opportunity.
Yeah.
But I stood on principle and I got my head cut.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, shoot, one of the guys you sent me over to one time tried to give me the back door unite. You know him, the African dude.
Okay.
They used to be over out in, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, you know he's
the African dude that used to be out in East Memphis.
Okay.
He went down with a scandal.
Oh,
yeah, you sent me over there to do something. Me, C. Michael was over there, C. Dub, Mario. He tried to backdoor me in front of them.
Gotcha.
And tried to get me to, like, I'm like, no.
Okay, gotcha.
But I stood on the principle.
Right. Now, all right, yeah. So that's that with that. But I do think that.
Oh yeah.
You know who it is.
Yeah. But I do think this whole thing, I think will help. I think bring a better option to the forefront when it comes to politics and stuff, because like you say, even before we got on camera, like the world is different now, right? The world is different. We take in information differently now. The kids aren't as tough and think kind of how we were when we growing up and stuff, and so how we digest media and stuff like that. And so and it seemed to me, just on the other side, even with Kamala and them and her campaign, they were running a campaign like this was 20 years ago, where celebrity, like we really care what celebrities think, right? Like right now, all the celebrities are underwater now. You know what I'm saying?
What does Ja Rule think about?
You know what I mean? Like, and so it's like now we got Diddy. You know what I mean? All the other celebrities that's been thrown under the bus, and so celebrities right now aren't people that we really care too much about, right?
Sure. And in 2024, do you really want to be doing anything that
you do? You know what I'm saying? And, and so it just seemed like it was a clear gimmick play to me, and so it was a lot of that stuff to me was an insult to our intelligence, I thought. You know what I'm saying? As far as some of the concerts and stuff like that.
I agree with you, man. I think one of the things, and Shay, you probably remember one of the things I always told y'all, this idea of charisma only lasts about 15 minutes. But character lasts a lifetime. And I think what we saw is a lot of charisma, but people voted and said, I'm looking at character, or I'm looking at certain things that I can connect to. And the whole pandering piece, looking at, again, our intelligence, and looking at that if certain artists come, then, that's going to sway me. And the people responded. The people responded to that. Yeah. By voting.
Right. And so, but I think that's a good thing. Just for everybody, because now it's just like you can't do the same play. Right. You can't do the same play anymore. Now you're going to have to come up with some new creative plays. Right. And, respect people's mind and their intelligence. Right. You know what I'm saying? In order to get the attention.
And like you said, that's been an old playbook, man. I was looking, and I know you guys research as well, all the way going back to Elvis Presley, that they would bring him in to speak on behalf, and further than that, right? In terms of bringing celebrities in order to appease the people or influence the people to vote. And you got it, like you said, JB, now you got people now who have access to information like more than any time period in the world. Now, the problem is we have access to information, but we don't have access to truth. And I think that's the thing that we really have to look at in terms of that, because I can put a meme together and put some things together, and people will accept it as truth, as opposed to doing research and finding out.
You're doing the documentary.
Right.
And you know, like you said, like, dude, that happened. The first time that happened with our people was back when Nixon was going versus Kennedy. And King's father, who was a part of the same organization that we was talking about earlier, as Nixon, had publicly endorsed Nixon. And if you remember, King went to jail and was sitting in jail, and Kennedy wrote the letter and everything to the governor, and he ended up, you know, releasing him and everything like that. And so when they interviewed his father afterwards, he said, you know, he gave all this thanks to Senator Kennedy and everything that he was doing. And he said, you know, I have a lot of sway in my community, and I hold the key to a lot of votes. And that was the first time the pandering came. Because a lot of those votes was going to Nixon. Because again, they was a part of that same organization, you know, with the handshakes and
I got you.
You know, riding the goat and all of that.
Right.
But then now you got my son out of jail, so now we pulling our votes this way
on the side. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And we finna ride, and that was actually when we shifted. You know what I'm saying? Our parties and stuff like that.
Right.
But that was like one of the first times that a celebrity was used to do that in our community.
Yeah.
You know, and man, like JB, you know, like you said, we got to stop. Like, I don't know why people think that we care about. It's if I see somebody twerking, I don't care anything else about politics at that point.
You've lost me.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Plus, even with that, like, I think it's a good thing now, because you saw on the other side, then we'll kind of transition to something else. Like, Trump went on, like, Rogan, some other dudes I don't even know. He went on those podcasts where people actually cared about their political mind, right? Yeah. She went on Stack Jack and them with Matt Barnes,
Club Shay
Shay, The Pivot, right? And so they don't like, I respect Shay, right? Respect Shay. The Pivot guys, they cool, right?
Right.
But you don't care about what they think policy wise or politic wise, right? And so it was just a whole the whole play period.
Yeah.
I think was, you know what I'm saying, it's something that they can look at and have to repackage and move forward on.
Now I will say this, that I said that was a little cringy for me was on the other side in terms of Trump, with the Trump shoes and things of that nature, and some of the characters that they've had in the past.
About $300, I think.
And I was listening to a podcast this morning, and now there's a Trump watch that you can buy, and it's Trump Time. Yeah, it's called Trump Time. Yeah, and I'm like, oh, okay. So
capitalized,
right? So capitalize.
Yeah,
understanding the system that they're working for the same company.
Right.
So I think, you know, to your point, we have to look at that as a whole.
For sure. Now let's transition to something a little bit more lighter here. Now, I want to, you know, Pastor Mike is a Steelers fan. You know what I'm saying? We know he's a Steelers fan, and you know, El Presidente is a 49er fan. Now, I just want to put some. You know I'm a Cowboys fan. Y'all know I'm a Cowboys fan. Yeah. So y'all know the Cowboys have a master plan, like, coming up, right?
Oh, okay.
Right. So I want. So if y'all know that we're like we 3-6 now. I think we're 3-6. And so now, because I just came to this realization myself, I didn't even know. I thought, you know, Jerry was being Jerry, but I think he had this plan all along about not being good in 2024. Right?
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? All the stuff you was hearing out, the stuff talking about we going all in, you know, da-da-da. You're right. We are going all in, but it was on the other side of it.
Okay.
Right? And so, given that, okay, we can say Coach Prime could you know, that's a big ask, right? To ask Coach Prime to come in to do that, which I think is a possibility. But I think that all the stuff, I think we played his radio interview that he did with whatever he was roasting them people at that time.
Prime?
No. Jerry Jones.
Oh, okay.
He threatened the people's job and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, okay, I kind of like it because I feel like he cares. But then I think it was all just about power and doing that. But I know y'all, you're fans of your teams and stuff like that, but I just that's what I do think. I came to a realization. I think that he wanted to take the whole time.
Okay.
I think Jerry wanted to take the whole time. You know what I'm saying? From the moves we're making, the not signing CD Lamb when we signed them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We signed Dak late, so signing them too late actually froze up money we couldn't get Derrick Henry and all them Aaron Jones.
Right.
Then during the deadline, we got Jonathan Mingo, the dude from Ole Miss. He's from Carolina. He was playing in Carolina.
Okay. Was he DB?
No, he's a wide receiver.
Wide receiver. Okay.
He's a wide receiver, but he's not somebody that you're looking like to help you this year.
Yeah, he's not moving the needle.
You know what I'm saying? So it's all moves toward even next year.
Yeah.
And then when Dak got hurt, it was just like it was full throttle. You know what I mean? So we potentially, I think, got a chance to get a top 5 pick, and if we can get either Shador or Travis, I think that could potentially put Deion in the forefront. I know how y'all feel about if Deion actually did come to the pros and coach the Cowboys.
I think that I know at one time when he said he had no desire to be in the pros.
That's what he said.
That's what he said, but he also said he wasn't leaving Jackson State. But that's
right.
a whole
Because the Lord told him to go to Jackson State.
Right.
There we go.
Now the Lord got him in Colorado, and that's where he's supposed to be. Until the Lord tells him again.
Till that money starts.
Because we know.
It's different.
Must be the money. That's what he said.
The Lord flip flops.
Right.
Like us.
But I think that number one, from a PR perspective, it would be tremendous. I mean, you guys are already dominating the airwaves, and that would just take it into the stratosphere.
Yeah.
Now the question is, how long would it last if he did? And that would be the question, because the pressure now, you're dealing with grown men. Everybody's not going to be just. I mean, there's a respect, but it's in the pros. You don't have that same feel in college in terms of it's about the coaches, because we know in the professionals it's about the players. And if you get on the wrong side of the players, you're out of here.
Right.
So could it happen? Sure, anything's possible. But in terms of, I could see the top 5 pick. I think I agree with you on that happening. I don't know about Shador, simply because you've had so much money invested in Dak. But I can see Travis Hunter. I can see that happening, and that could be a draw. So there's some credence to what you're saying.
Definitely 1 or 2. Plus, I think with, I think he said that a couple of years ago about not wanting to coach pros.
Okay.
But then now, when you look at the NIL, you pretty much dealing with pros in college.
Yeah.
You're dealing with, the type of money. Kids not coming now if you're not giving them a certain bag or a certain bonus. So he's slick already dealing with amateur pros, I guess you would call it, where he's at now.
And one other thing I think about, too, the fact of the matter is, how much higher can he go from where he is right now with his sons? What's the ceiling, right, for him? Because I know they're supposed to be bringing in 5 4-star players, but will you be able to replicate what you're doing this year?
I think that's the question. Because now I don't know. They're doing good right now. Let's say they win the Big 12 and they end up,
which I hope they do,
10-2. Let's say they go 10-2 or whatever that number is to get. Like, this is probably the highest he gonna get.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, Shador's gonna be gone.
Right.
Travis gonna be gone.
And don't forget Shiloh.
Shallow's gonna be gone.
Right.
So it's like, let's say you do come back to Colorado next year, will you win 7 games?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Being in the Big 12.
Yeah.
So it's like, it may be his best escape route to go to a situation. I think Dallas is I think his best case scenario, but I can actually see it now just because how bad we suck now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
and I think one of the things, I mean, it's a calculated risk, and I always say this. I know we joke on social media,
right.
Cowboys, Steelers, and whatnot, but Jerry's a businessman.
Definitely.
He's the best to do it. I have to give credit where credit is due, and that's why you guys are valued the way you are in terms of franchises. So,
$9 billion.
Yeah, and so you can't take that away from him. But I think from a football standpoint, you're gonna have to reimagine some things, and maybe with Deion you can do that and bring that excitement like he has. That's what he does. So,
and also too, I think that Jerry will not listen to hardly anybody, but I think he would listen to Deion. I think he would, you know what I'm saying, have some type of more compassion toward him. You you know, because they seem to have a real good relationship. Because, you know, before he went to Jackson State, he resided in Dallas, in Texas. He had his prime prep high school down there. So he had, you know, and he always dealt with Jerry, you know, in business-wise. I think he actually learned from Jerry business-wise. That's why he set up the stuff that he did, because he learned from him. So if anybody can get to Jerry to be like, Jerry, no, I got this. I think it will be Prime. Maybe I'm thinking too hopeful.
If Calvin Candy is going to listen to anybody, it's going to be Steven. But because everybody knows, like, Calvin Candy treated all his slaves good. I mean, look at Michael Irvin. Look at like he treats them well. I just
Are you calling Jerry a racist? Took too long.
I don't think that Jerry is prejudiced, but I do think he's a racist. Because like, I mean, he messed with black people, but like, yes, he's all about furthering that system. Yes, definitely. I think my only thing about Prime is I don't think that will work, because it will be like having two Jerrys. Because you ain't gonna be able to have Prime on the airwaves and Jerry on the airwaves at the same time. Like, Jerry's thing is like Jerry is almost like the guy who created Family Guy. You know what I'm saying? It's just too much him. You know what I'm saying? At first it was cool, you know, when it was just Family Guy, but then you had like American Dad and the Cleveland Show, and then it got to be like too much. The little bear movie, Ted, it just got to be too much of him. Like, okay, dude, like, you see what I'm saying? And it's like, it's too much Jerry. Like, we love the Cowboy, the cheerleaders. Y'all had the best cheerleaders in the game.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and y'all got
recognizable at least.
You see what I'm saying? But then y'all had this billionaire who's throwing his money around. Y'all had got the coach. Y'all won 3 championships in like 4 or 5 years off of what the coach built. And I mean, true enough, that was his homeboy from college. They went to play at Arkansas together. So he gave him that leeway, but then it's like we always say, you would be surprised with how far you can go when nobody cares who gets the credit.
Yeah, that's right.
He started caring about everybody's like, oh my God, y'all got the best general manager and coach in the game.
Yeah. And
then he starts looking like, ain't nobody looking at my billions. Dude, you're a billionaire. It don't matter. Everybody else can get the credit. At the end of the day, my little millions that you paying me, you wipe your butt with that.
Right.
But you want to be the guy.
Yeah.
And if we having a measuring contest, you got the biggest one in the room.
Right. And you know what's interesting about that too, because you're absolutely right, Shay, because Deion commands that type of attention. And you got 2 big dogs, and Jerry's world is for a reason. So now it's about Deion, because Deion's persona is so big. That would be interesting, an interesting dynamic. Would Jerry be willing to take a back seat to Shay's point? You know, because he's going to have to, because they're going to be asking him more questions than Jerry.
Or even, I'm thinking about it now, maybe he doesn't just, y'all know what his son does, Bucky, make with the social media page, right? And so that can become so huge to where now, okay, Jerry talking what he talking, but every day the narrative is what he wants to put out on a daily basis on the YouTube, on Instagram and stuff. So he'll be out more in front, more than Jerry would be on the record. Because, you know, Jerry does it, once a week after the game.
Traditional
you know what I'm saying? So he does once a week and does maybe after the game a little bit talk like that. But then with his son Bucky, I follow him now. Well, I think it's Well Off Forever Media or whatever. And what they do, it's a daily situation. So it'll be a daily glimpse at, okay, Cowboy this, okay, this will happen in the game. Michael Parsons, he doing his, you know what I'm saying? So it would be, Jerry could still do him, but then what they're doing social media wise will put more of the narrative that they want to put out there, more so than now.
So let me go back to this. Let's go back to the football side. How many years, realistically, let's just hypothetically, if Deion is hired, what type of leeway would he have, and for how long before he would be criticized? Because that's another thing. Deion, it's hard for him to kind of deal. You know, he was dealing with criticism. And now you're talking about with the Dallas Cowboys.
It's different.
That's a whole nother stratosphere.
It is.
In terms of criticism, and you know,
and then criticizing players. like you alluded to this earlier, like how when we were talking the other segment, how the generations are different. Man, these NFL players so sensitive.
Right.
Who was that was going back and forth with Steve Smith because he was talking about the guy that played in Denver?
Yeah, no,
and he was talking about, like the route running. He got, was it Judy?
It was Jared Judy.
Going back and forth with Steve Smith, the wide receiver.
And they got into it. Yeah, they got
because
into it.
He was saying, like, he's telling them, like, you was this lottery pick,
right.
You got to come on and do it. You got to do like he was doing in college. Like, and you get an attitude with somebody that's on the fringes of the Hall of Fame. Like, this was a guy who maximized everything he had, and you're going to get mad at a Hall of Famer telling you. If a Hall of Famer telling me something, I'm trying to do what you're saying to do. But, like, these dudes now, when Deion talking about sometimes you got to swap your luggage, we had a regular luggage, we need a Louis bag.
Right.
Some of them dudes ain't going to, you know what I'm saying? You would lose your whole locker room like that.
That's true.
That's kind of going into the next thing I want to get into. We're talking about the NBA. Obviously, I have the Grizzlies stuff on.
Yes, sir.
I'm a Grizzlies fan, right? And so I want to get a little bit deeper, I guess, talking about the NBA. We know the season is early. You know what I mean? I think actually Golden State playing tonight against Dallas.
Yeah.
Which I was kind of, dang, I ain't going to be able to see it. But just the injury part about it, right? Like a lot of cats, I think Ja's been out. He's going to be out for a week or two because he has a hamstring injury.
Yeah.
I think KD is out with some similar injury. Yeah. Zion Williamson is out again with some type of injury. And so, and I saw this on Gil's Arenas podcast just a little bit. I saw like a little snippet of it. And they were talking about just how, we talk about it too, just, kids growing up and stuff like that. Kids getting sick. Like, we used to eat dirt. We used to be outside, all
of the water hose.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Be in the bushes and
passing
all this
the
stuff.
can around. Everybody take a sip of the coke.
Right. And so these kids are so sensitive. They go outside, fall in some grass. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna get bumps, get poison ivy. Like, you know what I mean?
Nobody had a peanut allergy.
Yeah.
That's true.
And so now with the NBA players, it's like they're not running. When I say running to the ground anymore, like they were talking about training camp. Training camp back in the day used to be like 2 a days.
Right.
And so cats used to come in there all sore,
right.
You know what I'm saying, stiff walking. And like cats now, like Ja coming off a year pretty much being off. And so now he's not like, he coming with the hamstring injuries, but he hasn't really been through the ringer. Like they're giving him days off in training camp. Hey man, you take 2 or 3 days off. And so when you get back on the court going 100%, now your body is not, you know what I'm saying, up and ready for it. So now you got these cats missing 20, 30 games in the season. Right. And so it's just a different, like you said, a different time.
Yeah.
But then also they're getting paid at a higher level.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So where's like, you know what I mean? Like what's the give and take with that?
Well, I think a lot of it is, again, different eras. Even the game itself has changed. And, a lot of that, any type of physicality doesn't really exist anymore, right? You blow on somebody, that's a foul, right? Depending on who it is.
Yeah.
So I think that has a lot to do with it. And then, too, at the same time, guys are really athletic. They play earlier. I remember my son was playing basketball at an early age, and, he's moved on to some other sports. But these guys start so much earlier. Playing and wear and tear on your bodies. You got AAU. I remember my son was like 6'7", and they were running like a AAU type of tournaments, for the kids. I'm like, wait a minute, these kids ain't number 6 or 7 years old. We're not doing that. Once a week, 2 or 3 times, but not every day. And so I think those are some contributing factors that we see that's happened with the game, in terms of that. Let alone nutrition, all of those things. I think have kind of played a role in what we're seeing, I believe, my personal opinion.
And you know what, like that's what always irks me about the debates, and I'm not, the old man sitting on the porch, and we'll see. Since you say I don't like money, JB, Shannon Sharp, I'm drinking your cognac.
Is that it? Is that the cognac?
Yeah, that's the Shannon Sharp.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's the Shannon Sharp.
Oh,
so
wow.
Shannon Sharp, mess with. I'm gonna tag you, Shannon Sharp. We gonna see if we can get this good endorsement or something. Yeah, that's Shea by Laportier. But no, like you were saying, Mike, like these kids now, they don't have a rest period. And I know you played football, high school, college as well, right?
Yeah.
So y'all didn't know.
I don't even think I knew that.
For a little bit.
Yeah, and then his sister, man.
Yeah, I know Roz.
Yes,
Roz was hooping.
Yeah,
Roz was hooping. Yeah, okay. Okay.
So I mean, but like the difference is like, you know that old expression, country strong.
Right.
And so they talk about bigger, stronger, faster than who?
Right.
Like not Xavier McDaniel.
Oh wow.
Not Michael Cage.
Yeah, you went
or
back.
Charles. You see what I'm saying? Like we talk about, like you talk about guys like Gerald Wilkins.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, like imagine if those guys was playing today. Like those guys would be superstars today.
Right.
And they were just good.
Right.
Or regular. Like people forget Terry Cummings was an all-star.
Man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And Terry Cummings. And played in Milwaukee and San Antonio.
Can I tell you a quick Terry Cummings story? So my family's also from Chicago, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we was from Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
So we were there for the holidays. I think it was Thanksgiving, and we went into the local grocery store. I think it was a Jewel or whatever. And Terry Cummings walks into the store, and I'm like, man, that's Terry Cummings. And I'm looking at him up, big guy.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
6'9", 16.
Oh my gosh. But just a big guy, and one of these guys who played in this era now would dominate. Even though he did all right, but he was was in the era that.
Yep.
No, he had about 5 or 6 years where he was.
Yeah, he was at.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He came in the league after
Lister
2010.
had a good run, and then he started getting dunked on by Sean Kemp.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, Chris Gatlin would be a star.
Oh my God!
Not Chris Gatlin, not the one that who does Sean Kemp.
He dunked on Lister
the point.
in the same game. He dunked on Lister first, then he dunked on Chris Gatlin.
Yeah, he did.
Like Kemp.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like Karl Malone, like these dudes. I mean, aside from the creepy predator stuff, but like these dudes. Like, JB, to your point, like you had 3 months off,
3 months,
a year off.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like you said, Mike, somebody blowing you. It's just not the same. Like these dudes, John Stockton played. In his 19-year career, I think he only missed like 6 games.
Wow.
Yeah,
AC Green had a regular. He played almost 1,000 games straight.
Yeah.
And he's another one.
Yeah.
Dude was strong with the Jerry Curl dripping.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, these folks forget about Tom Chambers.
Yeah.
Who had one of the illest dunks when he stepped up on Mark Jackson.
Dude.
That was Mark Jackson. He used him as a left. Like,
it was. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But like, I mean, these dudes now. I'm off the Zion train because he messed up a lot of his good years being fat.
Yeah.
And he thought, I'm gonna get over on the system. So now think about how many years he missed being an all-star, being an all-NBA player.
Yeah.
Now you're like, how old is he? Like 25, 26?
Something like
no,
that. Like
24, 25. Because he came out freshman year.
John same time.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
but John's a little bit older than him.
Yeah.
Because he came out his junior year, and Zion came out his freshman year.
Right. But what I'm saying is, so like you're supposed to be the next guy, right?
Right.
Supposed to be.
If he was to retire right now, he's not close to the Hall of Fame.
Nah.
Oh no.
No.
Not at all.
Nah.
You know what I'm saying? Like Ja right now, we like but I mean, again, you haven't even done what Derrick Rose did.
Yeah.
And Derrick Rose ain't a Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We love you, D Rose, but you're not man. If they go over his whole high school, college. But based off just NBA, man, you had a good run.
Yeah.
But you're not a Hall of Famer.
And I think a lot of these younger cats, not younger cats, but the older dudes kind of in the game with the podcast and stuff like that, I think they try to, tiptoe around the younger cats to not seem like the older guy to say and get off my lawn when they try to, pay homage to today's game.
Yeah.
Right. So they'd be like, well, no, they're not, like this. But then, like I said, you got to call a spade at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Because even, me growing up, me seeing the games, the games were like lower scoring, like 90, 95, 89 to, whatever, when the Knicks usually play the Bulls and stuff like that.
Right.
And so now it's more high scoring. And so you can say it's more exciting, I guess, depending on how you look at it. But it just seems, that they're skating by, like, I think kind of like even the true work into it, like the Embiid situation.
Yeah.
Embiid said, he said before the season, he ain't going to play back-to-backs. Yeah. Before the season even started, right? And so it's just like you got the audacity now to even say that you're not going to do certain things when you're getting played getting paid a inflated amount of money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so I think it speaks to the society of the entitlement, right?
Okay.
The whole entitlement of it.
Yeah.
And so, and two, we were talking about the whole political thing, and so it's just like the whole thing of them being entitled, and then on top of that, like men are way more effeminate now. You know what I'm saying? We had the episode talking about emasculation. You know what I mean? And so now, that was one of the other reasons, one of the main reasons I was against the other side with Kamala, because I just felt they were pushing that whole effeminate, man agenda and stuff like that. And so, and I got younger kids, younger boys, and so not only you fighting that in the everyday world, but we fighting that on regular TV that they try to watch. I got to police what they watching on Netflix.
For sure.
I watched the Power Ranger thing one time. I sat there for a couple minutes just to see what was going on.
Right.
And it was a woman kissing a woman within 2 minutes
Right.
of the show.
Right.
Right. And so not only do we got to fight it within the house, and then now they're going to try to legislate, stuff out there in the open. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like too much. And so all this stuff together, you can see, like, you got cats, to each his own, painting their fingernails now,
Right.
Doing certain things that we just give a pass to now.
Right.
Oh, let them be, like, it's okay. Like, sure, people can do what they do, but then I just look at the overall agenda that's being pushed with that small little gesture, right?
Right.
Because I remember Young Thug talked about this. He used to paint his fingernails, right? He said, they asked him why he stopped. He was like, because my son wanted to do it. Because he was like, okay, it's not even that crucial no more for me to even do it. Because he did it just because he thought it was cool, it matched his outfit or whatever.
Right.
But he saw the agenda that it was pushing to his own kid.
Right.
That he didn't even want to think that was okay.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
and I agree with you. I think one of the things is when you see the feminization of men, effeminate, as you said, there's definitely an agenda with that. I think even Stevie Wonder could see that, quite frankly.
That's why Stevie Wonder can see
yes.
that.
I know.
but particularly with our black men, right?
Yeah.
And we see that. And even in the work, I know I get into talk about it a little bit, but just working with men and seeing that takes place, and you see, you guys, all three of us, I was thinking about this coming up, all three of us were blessed with outstanding fathers. Outstanding fathers.
Definitely.
Much respect, to your dads and my dad, and I think we were blessed, and you don't see that as often. And so because you don't, you see what you see, and so we have to continue to make sure that we're leaders in that field. One of the terms that I hate that the agenda has pushed is this whole idea of toxic masculinity, right? And that it's permeated our culture. It's permeated even in the church and in other aspects, where how can you be masculine and be toxic? But what we're really talking about is toxic behavior, not masculinity.
Right.
And so we have to really understand the game that's being played. And so if I can make my sons be feminine or effeminate, not understand who they really are, give them gender confusion, all of those things that we see, then we have to really understand what the agenda is happening out there. And I think it's important that we stand up and talk about that. So I commend you, man, in terms of with your kids, both of you, because I did the same thing with mine, even though they're older now.
Because it's different, man. Because I remember we had a homosexual, a gay dude that went to our high school, and so it was like, he tried to hide it, and it wasn't kind of like it is today. And so, but like now, it's so, and it's little by little, it's so subtle, right?
Yeah.
And how they doing it, like they putting the boys and the girls' clothes the same together in Target,
right,
and stuff like that, like real, like okay, it's nothing, you know what I mean? Like it's just little by little, and if we don't, grab a hold of it, and even with us being as parents, as busy as me and Rag as we are, it's like we can't be there all the time.
Right.
We got jobs, we got other stuff we doing.
Right.
We need our own chill time.
Right.
We got our wives. We need
right.
date nights and stuff with them, and so we can't be with them all the time. And so somebody else going to have to be pouring into them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's crucial.
And I think one of the things is just being able to lay the foundation. I think as men, as fathers, that's what we have to do. I know my father did that for me, you know, and I've tried to do that with my children in terms of that, plant that seed for them to see, you know, and you know, the old saying is more is caught than taught. And I think that's the thing that we have to really focus on, because it's a reality that's right here. And I would say, JB, not subtle, I think it's pretty bold now.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? It's almost like we daring y'all to say something. So
right. And so in being bold out there with whatever thing that I talk about, whether that was Trump or whatever, like, they try to make you feel ashamed to speak out about it. But like you said, on the other side, they speaking loud about the other things, about the other things that they like, about the trans stuff, about, you know, whatever else. And so now they want to shame you to talk about something that you like or you believe in, and try to twist it up.
Right.
So, and getting back, and I think all that stuff paints a picture to what even Rag was talking about before, the sensitivity of a lot of cats in today's league, right? Because honestly, probably a lot of, I don't know the percentage, but a lot of cats in the NBA, they grew up probably in a single mom household. A lot of them. You know what I'm saying? I don't know the percentage of it. Maybe look it up later. But a lot of cats grew up in a single parent household, didn't have their dad. I know Draymond Green, for one. We know how emotional he is. You know, he always speaks about his mom and, you know, being the mom and the dad and stuff. And then I think we can kind of see how some of that plays out and how he acts on the court, off the court. With him not really having that figure growing up and seeing, even with LeBron, even with the Kane, you know what I'm saying? Like, we've spoken on a couple of times just how, as great as he is, as a great role model, having kids, doing it the right way, he still, you can see that emotional. He real emotional.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When it comes to certain topics, if you say something about him particularly, like, he's gonna buck back.
Right.
But then look at somebody like we call the GOAT, Michael Jordan, real just decorum. You know what I'm saying? Nothing kind of bothers him. His dad was a big figure in his life. He was. He said he was his best friend, actually.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Strong presence.
Right. And so we see the different dynamics with that, right? Yeah. And so when you see, like, with anybody, you can look at you can look at Usher. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was a single. You know what I'm saying? Mom and doing all that. She ended up being his manager and stuff. And so when you look deep, when you raise up the skirt and stuff and kind of see kind of what's really going on, you think, like, how are these dudes, which leads back to the point we're talking about the celebrities, which is why, you know, celebrities aren't what they were 20, 25 years ago. We don't look at them like these mythical figures that, we aspire, like Diddy was, you know, back in 2008 when we were rocking the vote, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We were rocking the vote and doing all that stuff.
That,
So now it's like we looking at Diddy like, nigga, like, you know what I'm saying?
I don't even have baby oil in my house anymore.
You just got rid of it.
Man, I just straight cocoa butter, brother.
Yeah, you just got rid of it.
But one of the things I think is important, man, that you're mentioning, it kind of goes back again, that we were blessed to have, and your dad is still here, which is a blessing.
Man, for real.
Is that affirmation.
Yeah.
That affirmation that young men and women, children need, that affirmation from their fathers. And when you see that, you know, just the work that I do now, I see that. And even when I was working with young people, you could tell those who had been affirmed by their father and those who hadn't. And you see it down. Now those individuals have become adults, and they're still looking for affirmation. Doesn't matter how much money they make, celebrity or whatnot, we can't deny it. And I understand, unfortunately, relationships don't work out, you know, for some and things of that nature. But getting back to Dion, I will say one of the things I admire about him was the fact that he said, I'm a divorced father, but I never stopped being a father to my children. And I think that's the thing that it's important and critical now, particularly in our community, because we see it, you see it, we see it, right? And so whether it's being a father or a father figure, I think it's critically important that sometimes what we undervalue the influence and the impact we have as men in the lives of children, not only our children, but anyone that we come in contact with.
And I think too often, and sometimes movies are good for showing us stuff that we need to do, or they show us what the playbook is. But And I never understood why Lawrence Fishburne and Angela Bassett are married in so many movies or together in so many movies. Like, what's love got to do with it? Boys in the Hood. They wasn't married in Tequila and the Bee, but I think they kind of had a thing going.
Right.
But remember in Boys in the Hood, there was a part in there in the middle of the movie where she brings Trey to Lawrence Fishburne and she said, "I did all
that you could,
that I could do.
Yeah.
But now, for the next however many years, he needs you." But unfortunately, in our community, like, our women have gotten it twisted because every situation is not going to work. Every situation, y'all might get together young and it doesn't work out, or somebody may be toxic at some point. You get better later on, but now y'all are in two different places.
Right.
But like, I don't know what it is, and I know, having worked in the school system teaching, there's a lot of dads that were active and present.
Yeah.
But the mama would not relinquish. I can't.
Control.
The ego.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you care about what people think who ain't giving you $10 for your child.
Yeah.
Girl, how you gonna give your kids up? Because they would be better behaved with their daddy.
Yeah.
Their grades would be better.
Right.
They would be. You see what I'm saying? But like, no, you got to be with the mom. And in some cases, that's a good thing. But, and I'm the only one in here who was a single dad, but the worst thing my daughter could ever say to me is, "You was my mom and my daddy. Don't insult me like that. I can't be no woman. I can't teach you how to be a woman."
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I could be a super dad, but I can't do a mom and a dad. But why is it that women are so quick and so happy to be like, "I'm the dad and the mama"? No, you're not.
Yeah.
You can't teach a man how to stand up and pee.
That's the culture.
And if you can, that's a problem.
Right.
I'm scared of you, man.
Right. And I think part of that is, if I can interject this, is that, it's the culture. And then I also think, JB, too, and Shay, we got to realize, too, that part of that, because I see it all the time now in the work that I do, is that you have that brokenness. You have that bitterness that's there. And we have to understand that that's going to be part of the journey for that. And I have the privilege of being able to work with and helping reconcile, mothers and fathers who may be in separate households. And what I always tell them is, don't allow the children to be the collateral damage because of your relationship mishaps, right?
Yeah.
And so, we've seen that happen in the work that I do, where we're able to bring them together. But it's our community. We have to do that. It's the destruction of the black family that we've seen that's taken place over years and years, and now we're talking about generations, and now we're seeing the harvest of that now, and what's going on. Jawanza Kanjufu wrote a book years ago called "The Destruction to Kill Black Boys" or something like that, and it talks about taking the man out, putting boys in a situation where we see that they're not smart enough, they're not wise enough, all these things being played out by the culture, being, by society, the agenda. And we've seen that in the last, 40 years. And so when you took the man out of the equation, then that was half the battle, so that I could get, the check and all those other things and benefits. But really, I'm just really capping my earning potential, really, when I do that. But that's a whole nother story.
Well, not only that, then you're getting twice the taxes.
That's right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They're basically incentivizing you to be single.
Right. Exactly.
when you look at the end of it, they're incentivizing you that you don't need this because you can get more on this side, whether that's resources, monetary stuff, all that stuff. But yeah, we're gonna shut down this part. We got more we're gonna have to do with Mr. Mike here, y'all. Okay. But until next time, y'all continue with that executive mindset.
And most definitely keep it presidential.
Salute.
Arrivederci. Bow.